Welcome to our ultimate guide to social media in China. In this video, we're going to be looking at the top 3 social apps in China. So the top 3 social apps in China are WeChat, Weibo, and Douyin. And as you can see from this graph, Weibo was the first one to launch, but then WeChat came quite soon after and very rapidly overtook Weibo and is now at about 1.2, close to 1.2 billion monthly active users. Weibo has continued to see steady growth though. Then our newcomer is Douyin from ByteDance. Launched in only 2016, it grew very rapidly and is now starting to level off at around 500 million monthly active users. Still a very significant number. When it comes to the age demographics, we can see that unlike in the West, where TikTok is actually popular with younger users, Douyin is actually popular with a slightly older demographic. Weibo, meanwhile, appeals to a slightly younger user demographic. And WeChat, to be honest, with so many monthly active users, is really almost at saturation point. There are probably very few people in China who are on the internet and don't have WeChat. It really has permeated almost every part of the country. When it comes to the gender breakdown, you can see that most of the platforms follow roughly the gender breakdown of China. Weibo is probably the only exception, which has about 56% of its users being male, so slightly more than the average in the population. One of the ways we like to think about these platforms is with Gartner's hype cycle. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a great way to understand where these platforms are in terms of their life cycle. We see many new technologies rise and fall and eventually reach the point of maturity. As you'd expect, Douyin, being one of the newest ones and the one that's seen the most rapid growth recently, really is still at a high. Last year, almost every brand we spoke to wanted to be on Douyin and was rushing to create their account. A lot of brands see huge potential and hope for reaching their consumers on this platform. Meanwhile, WeChat grew very rapidly, but has actually become quite a difficult place for brands to find engagement. We're actually going to cover that in some of our later sections. So if you want to check out the video about WeChat, you'll hear us talking a bit more about this. But a lot of brands have really been struggling to gain followers and to get engagement with their content because it's now become quite a busy ecosystem and it's quite restricted in some of the options available to brands. Meanwhile, Weibo went through a rather difficult period where it felt like almost everybody was asking, is Weibo dead? But actually it's continued to grow consistently throughout, and it's now a very sophisticated platform in terms of the options for brands. You have lots of advertising options and other ways that you can connect with your followers, and they've recently started integrating more options for e-commerce too. So that's a quick look at the top platforms. To watch the next video in this series, looking at WeChat and giving you a full introduction to this incredible platform, click up there. To download the full PDF guide for this report, have a look down in the description below. KAWO is a software company and we created this guide to learn more about our platform and how it helps teams in China to achieve success on social media. Click over there.